All right, Shalom, Israel, giving all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakadash, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles, elders, bishops, great millstone, much salutations to the brothers, teaching word for the hopeful elect, so we can be elect most high well to the hopeful extended elect, Shalom. Getting this first scripture, getting right into it, be fairly quick, because I'm doing another video. Most High deals with nations, he deals with families. Well, not really. He deals with Israel, but you know, as far as how he, sets his judgment and how he created things, he created nations, you know, and I'm gonna get this Exodus 19:6. So, even though Israel is scattered all across the world, they're still a nation of Israel, and Jake, when he partakes of these things, especially in America, there's no nation. He's not nation based. Um, I know they have that song called "What is that? Pledge allegiance to the flag, one nation under God." And this is not, we're not a part of America. We were born in America, grew up, had experiences in America, especially slavery, poverty, and what have you. Um, Part of the so-called black culture, just growing up. But black culture is not even a nation. It's just experiences and things that we, blacks have made up to become, to have just some kind of identity, you know. But we're still the nation of Israel no matter what. And that's why a lot of, they, knowing the fact that they're really Israel, saying, that's why I left the Hebrew Israelites. That's why I'm no longer an Israelite. And that's a little bit of stupidity, but ignorance too. Because they're still Israelites, no matter if they leave the truth, what have you, they're still Israel. Everybody belongs to a nation. There's 18 nations, including also Israel. So it says, Exodus 19:6, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. And if you go into that word nation, let me go into the blue letter. So even if they got this individual thing, you say, well, I'm a free spirit, I'm an individual, I'm not an Israelite, I'm not this, Well, you are. You belong to a nation. Goy, which is Gawaya, it looks like.
Strong's H 1471. Goy. Goy.
Kawaya, it looks like. Um, Nation people usually of non-Hebrew people of descendants of Abraham of Israel. So it says usually of non-Hebrew people because it does explain in some instances in the Bible, many instances in the Bible is dealing with these other nations, which are heathens. There's three categories of men: sons of God, sons of wicked, sons of men. Of swarm of locusts, other animals. Okay, so apparently from the same root, sense of massing, a foreign nation, hence a Gentile, a troop of animals, heathen nation people. So, the heathens of their nation, Edom, he has his own people. Moab have their own people. Elam have their own people. Arabs have their own people. And you never hear blacks saying that they're half Arab, they'll say half black, half white, half Irish, whatever, you know. Um, but these nations are in the Bible, um, especially when you're dealing with the sons that came out of Ham, Japheth, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Um, concerning the Africans, Arabs, and all the nations, um, they never say that they, half this and half that. When it comes, they don't say they're half African and half this. They don't really even say they're African. They say they're from Africa, but they never claim that they are African by genealogy. Um, you know, so um, they have a loss of an identity. Loss of identity. It's called an identity crisis. You know. Now, so let me look up. It's another scripture talking about families. Let me get that scripture. Well, here's a quick scripture right here. Genesis 10:5. By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families, in their nations, man. And a father come of the seed. So, if you of one nation, you have that tongue, and you have that family, and you have that nation. And here we were divided, of course, and even in slavery, we have different last names coming under different names of our oppressor, and it depends on what family came from and what plantation. But this is a state of captivity. It's not a true birth. I mean, if this was our true birthplace and true heritage, even these things that have developed in America, um, we wouldn't have the so-called white man's last name. You know. Um, See, and it, in 20 verse 20 says, these are the sons of Ham after their families, after their tongues, in their countries, and in their nations. 31 says, these are the sons of Shem after their families, after their tongues, and their lands, after their nations, and so forth. I want to get that one in Amos, though. So you can't just be born in America and you just an individual walking around. That's why so-called white man has a hatred towards Jacob, so-called Negro, especially the Negro, but Latino Native Americans too. And no matter what, you could say that you're not racist. You could say that you don't hate them, but they're gonna still look at you and hate you because they know you're a part of this nation. They of course they go by bywords, nigger, Negroes, whatever. But they know who we are, you know, and it shows in our spirit, you know. Overall, but characteristics and mannerisms, you know. Like I said, you go to a so-called white person's house, they don't eat like you. They don't. Their mannerisms are not the same. Hell, even their spirit is not the same. They mountain climb. They're the people that love great heights. They love their meat raw, or medium rare. They're bloodthirsty people. They're not really. You could really tell too that they're not really. They don't really have the spirit in them to follow the Most High. They might mention God. They might say that they're Christians, but they don't have. It's not in them to think right. To really have it. This word of the Most High, His commandments, are important to their spirit. They're not connected with the Most High. You know, it's just they're regurgitating what their fathers. You know, they think that's what it is to just to be a Christian. Just the good old American Christian, which is based really on hatred toward our people. Ku Klux Klan were Christians. You know, I think I've read that somewhere, but what you call it? Yeah, because they have the wizards and the grand, all that. Um, let's see, I think it's pretty sure it's here. Amos. Yeah, Amos 3:2. It says, "You only have I known of all the families." I got to start at 1, and I'll look up that word family. Amos 3:1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought out up from the land of Egypt, saying, You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities. And that's why Most High is hard on Israel. These nations, they doing, on this side right now, they're doing whatever they want to. They eating what they want to. They doing what they. I mean, China's a superpower where they don't have no moral codes about them. They got their hand in the jar with the so-called white man with the AI thing. The AI is not spiritual, man. It's not holy. Well, for a better word, it's not righteous. And as well as these other countries heading for superpower, because Most High put them in that state to where they're competitive for that superpower, you know. And if they don't have enough power, they'll get what the superpower that is, as you see the BRICS and all that, But the BRICS, as you can see the different nations are coming together with the BRICS, you know, their nation and family is pretty much mentioned in the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China. They're not the same people, but they're coming together. They have a so to speak, that correlation, that connection, building, a foundation, so to speak, which is, everything's business, everything is marketing. I mean, nation deal with another nation for business purposes, marketing purposes. So why you got the trade wars going on with China, you know, so nobody really connects like that in the spirit to where they family. You got, every now and then you got one man or woman of nation that marry into another, and they learn their language and tongue and all that. They learn their ways, and they'll start to dress like them or talk like them, but they know that they're from a different family or nation. So I'll look up that word families right quick. So if you got an Israelite over here in America, we're not Americans. We go over there in Italy, they will say that. Well, they say, where you from? I'm from America. They say, oh, but they gonna look at you as a black person, as a Latino person, and they know everybody in America is not, that they don't follow the ways of America. They don't keep the so-called customs of America, Because this is pretty much the land of free. You could be anything you want over here. So you could be a Mormon, you could be a Scientologist, you could be a what do you call them, mother? You Christianity is not a nationality. It's not a nation. It's they call it a religion, but really, I mean, if you go back to the origin of Christianity, it is from a nation because it's supposed to be the saints. It's supposed to be the Israelites. Well, that's the origin of the Christianity, the anointed ones, which come from a lineage, which come have their own tongue, which come from a people. But here, you know, along with these other religious sects there is no it's not a nationality. It's not a family, so to speak. It's just something that people a practice that people made up to do to have an identity. So Christianity is really this American Christianity is not even real. It's not even based on real morals and real family values. You know, it's just something you can join or I mean, you know, identify with or you know, say that you are to have some kind of identity uh, when it comes to religion. You know, because all these Christians don't believe in the same thing. You know, you have a family reunion, you be like, well, who is this dude that's showing up, and who is this female that's showing up in our family? We don't know you. Oh, and then they got to say, well, I'm what's her name, son, nephew, whatever. I'm what's her name, daughter, niece. And then you're like, oh, you mention a name. And he's like, oh, you what's her name's daughter? Or they might see how you look, and you like, you look like what's her name? Yeah, I'm his son. Oh, yeah, I'm her daughter, you know. But those are the codes of, you know, real family structure uh, oriented, you know, codes. That doesn't happen with Christianity and all these other religions. But with being an Israelite, it does. You say you're an Israelite, you think about, oh, okay, y'all keep the high holy days, y'all, you know, y'all keep the Passat, and you're like, yeah, that's our customs. When have you ever heard that of Christianity? Scientology. So Christianity is just a fabric of this paganistic world of, you know, that we live in, especially here in America. So um, start to close out. Families.
Strong's H 4940. Mispacha. Mispacha.
Okay, it looks like ma shapaka, and it means clan, tribe, people, nation, species, kind. And most I said that he made everything after his kind, just like even with the animals. You got the birds, different birds. They're not the same. Eagle after his kind, owl after his kind. You got the, you know, the crow after his kind, the raven after his kind. They're not the same, even though they're called birds. They're not. There's different birds. Even though we're humans, and we're not all human. Humans mean color men. There's all color type of men on the earth, but they're not the same. They're from a different seed. We're from a different seed of Arabs. They're from a different seed of East Indians. And the East Indians are dark people. Arabs are dark people. The only people that are not, which the colored man, is the so-called white man, which is he's red. Well, if you want to consider that color, yeah. But, you know, he's different from, you know, and Most High made that manifest even from the serpent that used to have melanin and color, that he made him, he saw an identity to be like, this is the guy that is the murder of the earth. Most High putting a mark on him to identify who the murderer is. You know, caught red-handed. You know, um, without identity or covering. You know, because they don't have an identity. I mean, If you go back to the caves, that's not an identity. It's just, you know, but, you know, um, Edom just means red. Israel means he's the prince of power. It's dignity with that. It's family structure with that. It's values. It's customs with that. That's why we got the laws of Moses. They didn't. They don't have the law. They don't follow the law. You know. That's why the Most High gets mad at when we go off because we got the law. He's gonna start with Israel first. You know. You know, we the ones. He said, we're the only family he known on the earth. Like, look, Israel, you got you supposed to be doing the law. All this American law shit, even down to the police, those are not real laws, man. You know, it doesn't say in the Bible that you can't a grown man can't walk a street, and it's called jaywalking. Or he's in his car and he goes 10 miles more per hour than what is minute. But yeah, we got to follow the laws of the land, of course, because this devil is ruling. But those are not real, true laws and value, and those are not true values of the law. That's why this devil is confusing being in here, man. Because they'll arrest you for something, you know, and say that you're a bad person. Then they let sodomites and fucking adulterers run this place rapidly, man. So it doesn't make any sense. You know, they'll talk about how saving lives, but then they'll give, a law, make it lawful to abort children. You know, so that's why these devils got to go down, man. Because this is, and hey, you don't think this is Babylon? Check the records. Check what's really going on in America and compare it to, you know, the law, compared to, you know, the word of the Most High, and you can see this place is backwards as hell, and it's confusing as hell. Um, Regular, figuratively, a class of persons, a species of animals or sort of things, by an extension, a tribe or people, family, kind, kindred. You know, um, so that's just what it is, man. You have a family, you do certain things according to your family. Now, all Israel is, like it says, a whole family. We were a whole family. We followed the same customs. We followed the same, you know, kept the same laws, you know, celebrated the same things. Now our people are celebrating Christmas and Thanksgiving and shit. That is not a part of our customs, culture. A lot of those the pagan holidays, of course, they go back, and some of them are based on what happened in America when what they did to our people, such as Thanksgiving. You know, so a lot of our people are, built with American, built on American customs with the American mind to follow American uh, deeds, follow American rules. Like I said, you gotta obey the laws of the land. You can't be stupid. You gotta be wiser than a serpent. But our people embrace this stuff, like it's really came from, like it's really our customs, like it's really our origin of things, of practices, you know, and that's not it. Like I said, they admit adultery in this place, bestiality in this place, sodomy in this place. Clearly everything that goes against the Bible, covetousness in this place. You know, they this is what America has bred, or so-called white men. But in this American bubble, it's even worse. You know, this place is running rapid with heathenistic ways, man. That's why everybody's bugging out. They don't have no structure, no moral, no conduct, no moral code. And in America, they send out the police to get people They send out a military to get people, and then but they doing the same shit. These higher ups they sacrifice children. They're they in a certain they in these clubs. I'm not talking about no niggas clubs, but that's just Jake bugging out. But I'm talking about a higher club, the $1 billion club, $1 million club. You know, and they hold power, and they international banking families rule the world, and they have a family, they have a bloodline, they have a brotherhood, but nobody can arrest them because they rule the world, and they doing anything they want to do. Those people that when our people say that put poison in the water, poison in the food, plastic in the water, you can't arrest them people because they got that much power, you know. And these people know this, and they're not coming up against the system. There's such thing as anarchy, and that's coming. But these people that say they're getting poisoned. I mean, imagine if somebody was trying to poison your family. You going to war. Somebody poison your son or daughter. They almost die. You can try to take that family out. But these people are not roused up enough to do that because they powerless. But another way of looking at things, which is according to the scriptures, it says in the scriptures, "Who shall rouse him up?" Talking about Jacob, you know. So starting with the so-called black man, Latino native Americans, who shall rouse him up? Because Jake got to be ruffled in his feathers to, or he'll go back to sleep. You know, a Negro gets shot by the cops and they raise hell for about a couple of weeks, and then it goes back to them going to work and going, having fun and doing parties and all that, listening to nigga music and shit. It's not an ongoing war, defense of war, concerning war with Jake. You know, so you know Jake's he if he once he knows, well, he knows the truth. A lot of them know the truth now, but you know you start really digging deep and going into the rabbit hole of this matrix, you'll find out that yeah, these people are really evil, man. These people are really wicked. These people are really trying to literally kill you because there's no face to it. You know, there's no direct face to it, but we paint one because everybody thought the devil was some underground creature and all that. That Christian mythology shit, bullshit, pseudo science shit. So he can't be blamed. So-called white man can't be blamed. But now, we draw the picture for you, put together the pieces, breaking it down in the scriptures. That the wicked got a bloodline, that the wicked rule the world. You know, that the devil is right here on earth. He's a false accuser. It's not a creature, lizard creature underground waiting for people to go to hell. We find out hell's not real, not how the Americans said or these Christians believe. That it's right here on earth. We're living in hell. You know. So now that shit is getting swallowed up, and Jake is we know now we're a part of a real true family, a true brotherhood, and they got to do with the elect because these them ninjas ain't gonna get it, man. They're gonna try to keep their foot on American ground and try to be brotherhood with That's why you got ninjas talking about, well, I'm tired of the hatred against so-called white people. There are good so-called white people out there. There are good cops out there. There are good politicians out there. No matter what, I don't care if you have what do you call it, a persona of a good person. That don't mean shit. A so-called white person can live next door to you all for 20 or 30 years and say hello to you every day. But when it comes to life situations, when it comes to um, racism or some race wars or what have you, they'll turn their back on your ass because you're not a part of their family. You'll sit you might have gone to their table a couple of times, but you're not a part of their bloodline. You know, basically, you'll have to marry into their family, and then they'll still watch you. But that's acceptance of one Negro and shit. They're not. You can't bring your whole family into their family. They're gonna be like, nah, it's too many niggas. Just like on TV, you can't have too many black actors at once. That time when black people were hardly able to be on TV, they say, well, nah, because we wanna show dominance. The president's been all Edomites, man, except for a Hamite, which is what you call Obama. He's an African. He's not even a so-called Negro. But they've been all Edomites. That shows you like who rules the world. It's who dominates. Jake's talking about, well, yeah, you know, and then you do the underlayer of Black history. You find out, well, John Henson, he was but he's not. He's not on the plaque. He's not on the wall in the White House. You know,